explaining clinical depression to my lover. He curates my breakfast each morning, perfectly peppered sunny side up and a steaming cup of tea, brown, swirling and steaming, filled to the brim. My glance and the halo shift from the tea to the bougainvillea in his hands. You look great today. Good morning, my love. My lover, in his sweaty polo shirt, holding the magenta in the curl of his fingers, looks like the mannequin that says, "Right here to brighten your day." His silhouette clamps the orange-yellow curtains, and more to myself I reassure, it's the day. While I sit, propped up from my blanket, engulfing back the foam of the midnight's reasons of balancing my cracked heels on the parapet, jutting out to a free fall of at least 100 feet. I had felt like a diver then, the one that had won gold at the Olympics, and now, blurred by the vision, is unsure of the clutter of cheers from the splashes of the aquamarine pool. My lover, who equates all things yellow to merriment, has religiously meditated to the ritual of holding me to his beating heart and his ritualistic "I love you" in the good night sleeps. He believes, like everything else we have shared, the love that he repeats all day like a chained parakeet reading the beads of the rosary shall swim against my evaporating sweat and settle in the halo. The halo that wicks the white of my eyes and collects the slithering shooting stars on the tips, pours the sesame oil smelling of dead fishes in dying rivers instead, and douses the almond peripheries. I lie like a broken vase, with no thought ever spared to conjoint the house with molten gold, and watch a child, laughing and gleaming, staring at me with dreamy, watery eyes, sublime into the monochromatic, monotonous winding of the noisy clock. The rehearsed goosebumps, ripened with repetition, die prematurely in the gaping cracks of my skin, laced with flakes of what-ifs, sheathing a dormant volcano whose igneous yellow lava, like the tentacles of the sea anemone, shoot across the distant peripheries of my body, which have neglected the need to defend, and sludge in the varicose veins, refusing to coexist with the deafening hum of "I love you." The pit of my entrails and the curls that have forced them into settlement in the crumbling constitution rage a mutiny of the aching joints, like a nebula sickling the sandalwood for its own funeral. The silver grey stardust and the smothered rosy days of future, the sunrise yellow days of innocence, and the churning blue venom in between, spewing from sources the memory has long since stamped and spangled in. This and that, this and that, this and that, smudge across their territories. So as the child of darkness tries to struggle her way into the underbrush of silence and emptiness that no longer oozes out from the words and art, the glint of chiffon and diamonds in the tiara, the hollow brown irises spill through their bosoms the tombstones of what if I, severed in avalanche, constructed across the reclaimed frozen lakes with psychrophilic weeds strangling the gills of the trouts. My mouth, as ancient as the harrowing steps at Mohenjo-daro, sips the as cold as unclaimed corpse tea and slides the rest on the table. I pop a pill of worthiness and return my aching, crumbling spine to the upright pillow amidst the snowy tube light, dusty blades of the fan, and the creased flowers on the bed sheet. My body fed richly on the morsels of my waning existence, my fibrous voice and the jungle of imprudent, reedy words, roots deeper into the yellow of the tiles and the grit between them, uncared in a universe of unaccounted thoughts. In the evenings, when he returns to the tangled brown hair and the silver streak of an afternoon drool, uncouth in the shrine of the snowy tube light, dusty blades of the fan and the creased flowers of the bed sheet, with an offering of roses saved from senescence by timely watering, my dim eyes with withered maples for irises scan his face, stretched across a mesh of papery veins, like his now moth-eaten sepia morning bougainvillea. Love, how are you doing now? Empties from the fissures of his clean mouth. My love, I know how flowers bloom and how the tinged petals assume symmetry, and that a nectar sweeter than some of our stolen kisses coats itself onto the capillaries of bright velvet. They at me glare as prisoners in sweetened elixir. I attempt a faint imitation of the Victorian grandma who comes with her own cup of tea in the dusky afternoons to suggest me ways how he, the man who wakes up next to me each morning with the skeletons of those I once treasured, is knitting a noose of wild ivies in the pitch of a cracked crystal. Once upon a time, high up in the mountains, in the castle of ice and all things nice, lived a woman with eyes that could devour any man climbing up the precipice. Instead, my voice, drenched in the welling questions, quavers